It has been another slow day, if you like, in terms of the equity market. The NSE All Share Index closed negative again, led lower by the banking sector. Baba Ibrahim, Managing Director at Mainstreet Bank Securities, joins me now to review the day's trade. Thank you so much, Baba, for joining us. So, more losses after last week. Some people's hopes were raised a little bit, but then obviously we are seeing the slowdown again. And interestingly, we're seeing that is happening in the banking sector. To what extent would you link this to some of the news flow around the banking sector recently? We know about the single treasury single account and the impact that will have on bank deposits. And of course, recently we've seen an increase in non-performing loans.
Yes, and quite clearly, Wale, the manifestation is what you're seeing in the market right now. That singular policy of the government will most likely affect the deposit base of banks very negatively. Yeah, I think again the level of impact will vary from size to size. For the tier 1 banks that have huge public sector funds, tendency is for them to really experience a very massive pull-out of funds. And I think that's what clearly is really manifested in the market, and that's why the banking sector stocks was badly hit today.
But are you also a seller of banks? Do you think it's a buying opportunity? How do you read this movement today?
Sorry, could you come again with the question?
Are you selling banks as well, or do you see this decline as a buying opportunity in the banking sector?
Well, normally when new policy directive comes on stream, tendency is for you to get an immediate reaction. Yeah, and that's what is clearly manifested in the market. People will tend to think that the banking sector stocks will no longer be profitable to hold on to, and as such, you're going to see wholesome exits from that stock. That will be momentarily. I think that that's not going to go beyond tomorrow, all things being equal. You will see a resurgence of demand on some of these banking stocks as we go down the incoming week.
Do you think we'll see a rebound for the broader market as well? It has been so difficult to call the bottom of this decline. It's been falling back for a while now. And last week, after market gaining 4%, there was some hope that we could have seen perhaps the end of this slide. So your thoughts about where the market is headed from here?
Yeah, well, we've not seen the end of the market on both sides of the divide, yeah, because from time to time, government policies will come. If they are favorable, they tend to impact on the market very positively. If they are not too favorable, of course, the reverse is the case. Yeah, so I don't think that we can clearly say that we've seen the end of it. What's above all is that we need to see a very sustainable, economic policies that everybody, the local and the foreign investors will be able to key in on and to see a very sustainable paths. It's only when the market is on a stronger path that the capital market will be able to, ride in on that.
Right. I know everyone is waiting for policy direction from the government, but how are brokers reading some of the news flow around the reforms in the oil sector? Of course, we know we now have a new CEO for the National Oil Company, the NNPC, and of course, we've seen a pretty big shake-up there. Buhari, of course, more recently saying that they will soon begin to prosecute people who have looted the treasury. So all this, how are stockbrokers reading this, and in terms of the long-term impact on the market?
Yes, quite frankly, I think there's no pain without gain. Yeah, we're going to run through a period of a very tortuous and difficult times. Yeah, on a larger scale, but ultimately, the bottom line is for us to have a very sustainable path. Yeah, the cleanup in the oil sector is going to translate to medium to long-term gain. Yeah, there are going to be pains in the short run, no doubt about that. All in all, I think that what is actually running through right now is clearly being expected, because we've always known the mantra of the new current government, and that is to fight corruption. So clearly nobody seems to be surprised as to the direction they are actually taking. But on the larger scale, I think we should see a very sustainable economic base where everybody can key in on, and we're going to be on a roller coaster. Yeah.
All right, Baba, let's leave it there. Baba Ibrahim, Managing Director, Mainstreet Bank Securities.